The Fantastic Four, Marvel's first superhero family. It may come as a surprise to some of you, but the Fantastic Four are some of the most important characters in the Marvel Universe, simply because of the fact that a lot of really cool and interesting concepts and characters came out of those early pages of the Fantastic Four books. However, with the Fantastic Four being around for so long and having so many different runs, so many different incarnations, and oh so many different writers and artists, it can be a bit daunting to get into the characters. And that's where I come in. Ladies, gentlemen, and Franklin Richards, today we are going to be taking a look at the Fantastic Four and where you can start reading them. Let's do this. First things first, let's start off with the legendary run that kicked off the book in the first place, the Stanley and Jack the King Kirby run. Stanley and Jack the King Kirby were at the top of their game when they created the Fantastic Four, and the stories that came out of this were incredible. Not to mention the characters. We're talking characters like Black Panther, Galactus Silver Surfer, and Annihilus, just to name a few. It is insane the level of creativity that came out of this run. Not only that, but a lot of the Marvel Cosmic stuff that we love today came from this. These two were firing on all cylinders in terms of creativity during this run. I am putting up a warning though on this run. It is not the most digestible thing to read, simply because of the fact that this was the 1960s when this book first came out, and because of that, the dialogue in here is a bit dated, and on top of that, there is a lot of it. It's very prose heavy, and a lot of times it's just explaining a lot of obvious stuff that's going on in the books. You have to remember though, this was the style. This is what comics were back then, and if you take it within that context, I think you'll be okay. We also have to talk about Jack Kirby's art. Jack Kirby during this run was at the top of his game. Jack Kirby's art is interesting because even by today's standards, it's incredibly well done. The use of his line work and the use of his poses and the use of how strong he presents his characters and the use of movement is unmatched for the time. And even by today's standards, it is just simply beautiful. It's great stuff and it stands the test of time. Following up on the Jack Kirby and Stan Lee run, we have John Byrne. John Byrne on the Fantastic Four was one of the greatest comic runs of that time period, which should come as no surprise considering that John Byrne has had a pretty incredible career if you look at it. Let's not talk about how he is today though. What John Byrne did was that he brought the Fantastic Four into a more modern context for the time. He reintroduced Doctor Doom, he brought back Diablo, he really brought back the Submariner in a big way, and he made Sue Storm a bigger part of the team. Perhaps his biggest contribution though is the mythos of Franklin Richards. You see, Franklin Richards is the equivalent to a god in the Marvel Universe. He is extremely powerful and he is extremely dangerous. Reason behind this is because Franklin Richards can alter universes and even create pocket universes. For all intents and purposes, Franklin Richards is a mutant, but he has the equivalent power of a god. If I had one complaint about this run is that the run starts out a lot stronger than it ends. It kind of just peters out towards the ending of Byrne's take on this, and to be honest, it gets kind of bad. However, the good far outweighs the really bad stuff here, and I really do still recommend you check this out. If I had to choose the next run on my list, it would have to absolutely go to Mark Waid's run. Now, Mark Waid, to certain circles of people in the comic book fandom, is a name that draws a lot of However, his Fantastic Four run is great. It's a solid run, and it's a blast to read also. Waid here really is able to bring a sense of pathos and a sense of really good comedic timing to Marvel's first family, and on top of that, it has one of the most lovingly beautiful tributes that I have ever seen in a comic book to the late Jack Kirby. What's really interesting about this run is that Mark Waid decided to take a more smaller family approach to this. He really zeroed in on what it would be like to have a family full of people that are really different and have these different superpowers. It's really cool, especially when you compare it to the next run that I'm going to be talking about, where it's so large and grand in scale and in cosmic mythos that this is a bit more down to earth and a bit more of a slice of life is precisely the reason that I really like this story. Okay, so this last one should come as no surprise to anybody who's been reading comics for the past 10 years. This is the Jonathan Hickman Fantastic Four run. Arguably, by a lot of fans that have been reading the Fantastic Four run for years, the greatest run on the characters. Now, that is up for debate. The characters have been around since the 1960s. However, in my humble opinion, it's up there. It's probably the best. Hickman goes big, and he goes really big. He introduces the Council of Reeds. He brings back Franklin Richards. He brings in multi-dimensional types of Reed Richards. It's on a scale and level that the Fantastic Four really have never been, and to be honest, it's damn impressive. The story starts out with Reed Richards proclaiming that he is going to fix everything. He's going to fix every single problem in the universe. And it spirals out of there. It's insane, the level of thought and creativity that was put into this. I will warn you though, this is a slow burn. He takes his time telling this story, and it takes a while to really get going. However, once it does get going, it is a hell of a wild ride. There is a page in here involving Galactus that is one of the coolest things that I've ever read in a comic. It's insane how awesome it is, and if you've read this run, I'm pretty sure the people that are listening to this right now know exactly what I'm talking about, but it's so incredibly badass that it made me stand up and cheer. While I understand that Hickman's run might not be for everybody, it's very plot heavy and very wordy, it's still a fun ride all the way through, and I highly recommend you check it out. There we have it, guys. That is my choice for the Fantastic Four. That is my list of how you should start reading the Fantastic Four. Let me know in the comments section down below, what are some of your favorite Fantastic Four stories? I know for me, I have always loved the Fantastic Four. They've always been a huge part of my life. I remember being a kid and watching the cartoon series and reading some of the comic books, and just something about them has always drawn to me personally. Let me know down below in the comments section what you think of this video. Comment, subscribe, hit that like button. Guys, I'm going to link all these videos down below in the description. If you want and you are going to buy these videos, please use those Amazon links. It helps me out. It gives me a cut of the profit. Doesn't take anything out of your wallet. Comes out of Amazon's. And stay tuned, guys. I'm doing videos now Monday through Friday, one a day. And we're going to see what else comes out of this. Love you. Bye.